If you continue fighting, a murder will occur. Then he trembled with sweat and looked down. The yellow jacket continued, Are you crazy? Do you want to beat someone to death? The godfather said, It's okay, the yellow shirt guy assured me. From now on, follow me. I'll protect you. Make sure no one in Tam Trung dares to touch you. Then he looked down at the person he had just beaten in panic. What is this about me? Don't worry, you won't die. At most, after lying motionless for 2 days, these injuries are of no consequence. He looked at the unconscious person on the ground with blood flowing out. What if the school finds out? It won't kill you. If you know, just let them know. It won't be the first time. It's really okay. The yellow shirt man angrily slapped him hard and said, If you say it's okay, it's okay. Don't believe it, right? He covered his face and looked over and said, It's okay if it's okay. It's okay if it's okay. After finishing beating the person, the yellow jacket guy lit a cigarette and leaned against the bathroom counter and said, Tell me, why are you looking for me? You're my classmate. The morning he offended you, I knew which way he went after school. You guys can go first and stop it. The guy in the yellow shirt glanced over and said, You have a grudge against him, that's right. If you have a grudge, then come with us after school. Like this, don't you want to do it yourself? Having said that, the two of them turned to the person lying unconscious on the ground. When Vong Tri Choyan heard this, he gritted his teeth and spoke firmly. Yes, change the scene to the classroom. 2 teachers stood on the podium and spoke. Quickly take your seats, the literature test begins. Then the 2 teachers gave out the questions to the students. Nam Chin read the questions. Holding the question paper in my hand, I thought, I have read the herbal song in the book many times. Also see new works written in ancient style. The ancient literature section is probably the part with high scores. The test is autumn. I will use the ancient literature style to write. Looking like that, Nam Chin still calmly did his homework. Vong Tri Choyan was extremely angry and silently cursed. I'll let you know after school. Then Nam Chin stood up, raised his hand and said, Miss, I submitted my assignment. Everyone around was surprised because only an hour had passed. They were silently discussing. Crazy. Do you want to be scolded by Mr. Chow? If you don't finish writing, you'll probably have to submit your paper blank. Don't you know that the supervisor is Mr. Lee? You teach this literature subject. And Nam Chin leisurely walked out of the exam room. The supervisor above looked angry. Old Lee is so angry that he's fuming. There's a good show to watch. When reading Nam Chin's lesson, the teacher looked panicked. But everyone in the exam room thought, Mr. Lee was so angry that he was fuming. There was a good show to watch. The teacher read Nam Chin's lesson. His head was covered in sweat and he spoke. Miss Liu, come here and take a look. When you read Nam Chin's article, both of you were shocked. No, it's not. How could it be that you write so well? How good your work is that makes the teacher so attentive? Maybe my grammar is not as good as his. The match was pulled away from the score. Our male lead is leisurely reading a book on the lakeshore. Then he pushed the book aside and said that biology is a rote subject. To me, it's like a piece of meat placed on a chopping board. You can chop it however you want. Then he took the next biology book. Ring, ring, the bell rang. 2 supervisors stood in front of the class and spoke. Sit neatly, next is English. Then she continues to hand out lessons to the students. Fat reached Nam Chin and she stopped and said, I hope you take the exam seriously this time and show your strength. Nam Chin smiled and said, Yes, during the English test, there was a very beautiful teacher as the proctor. The teacher's name was Tran Hai. The teacher always paid attention to a red-haired student doing his homework. That's our Nam Chin named Duong Nin. Classmate Chow Tiu Phai looked at the beautiful teacher who was infatuated with Duong Nin and was extremely jealous. Secretly exclaimed to Anne, Wow, are you a man? Don't you see how sexy Tran dye my dresses? You look at her body. I couldn't even control myself and you didn't even look up. In contrast to the teacher's staring look and his friend's jealous look, Nin Duong only focused on doing his homework. This exam absolutely cannot be difficult for you. He thought to himself, it's really simple, I knew her before. She doesn't know me, now it's like family. So close, His hands are still free from doing homework. Is this level also called translation subject? This article is to combat criticism. Our male protagonist is truly a legendary scholar. Chow Tu-Fai, sitting at the table behind the male lead, saw this scene and cried with anger without tears. This guy, Chow, doesn't seem to be able to do his homework. He lamented, remembering that year, our brothers were humiliated by this language. But now that you have suddenly improved, have you thought about this brother's feelings? Just as he was out of his thoughts, his brother Duong Nin raised his hand to announce his assignment, making him and the teacher extremely surprised. Teacher Tran approached and asked him, "How many points are you sure of this time?" He answered decisively, feeling like he would get a perfect score. Listening to him, Chow Tu-Fai's sweat dropped. She really wasn't afraid of making her mouth twist. The teacher holding Duong Nin's exam paper still did not forget to remind him. You should check the exam again. Half an hour has passed since you finished the exam. The speed is too fast and there are some mistakes. It's not likely that he will get a perfect score, but the male lead still has plenty of confidence. He used his little finger to rotate his armhole, considering what the teacher said was too unnecessary. The story of the sunset at the beginning of the Han ancient town. The male lead stands on a rather small street corner. The houses in this area are quite old. The road is also paved with bricks from ancient times to modern times. It's rare for a taxi to park in front of the house. He looked in his backpack for his phone and pressed open the system to research the islands. Uncle Luke, I'm here. These rocks are too heavy. Or you can bring the car over here. The other end of the line will immediately answer. Okay, I'll come right away. Duong Nin and Uncle Luke will come here. Uncle Luke invited him to drink water. He asked, Dear, why don't you drive over? He took the glass of water from Luke Kwok Huan's hand and answered. Without a license, he did not dare to drive around. Luke Kwok Huan did not say anything. After serving the water, he immediately turned to the chair opposite him and sat down. Speaking directly, Lu Ho was released by Uncle. At the same time, sending a few people to watch, Duong Nin asked back in surprise. How can I let him go? The uncle leisurely replied. Of course, he pretended to be lax and let him escape on his own. He took advantage of the drunk watchman falling asleep and secretly ran away. Stuffed a small positioning device into his pocket. It's really sophisticated. He turned to the male lead. Do you think the person behind the manipulation will appear? He thought seriously. It was difficult to speak. I'm worried that the other person is a scared bird and also sees a curved branch and is scared. After all, the person pulling the strings is also a woman. Of course, if your guess is correct, the elderly man said thoughtfully. We'll see. After all, I'm the one protecting Manhuyan. They were all invited from the British Academy of Love. I wonder, is the Elite Academy? It sounds very cool. Uncle Luke explained that it was an academy that trained bodyguards. Founded by a group of demobilized Special Forces soldiers, he invited 2 female bodyguards. I heard they are the 2 best female students in this course. Normal hooligans only need a few minutes to solve the problem. 2 female bodyguards? Duong Nin just saw 2 long-legged beauties. With a slim figure, eyes immediately bloom and look fascinated. So maybe it's okay. Why does the flower bodyguard have such a sexy body? Both beautiful and cool and good at fighting. Who doesn't admire her? Sitting in the room talking, Luke Kwok Huan clasped his hands together and leaned his chin up to look at Nam Chin as he spoke. You must pay attention to guard against Ta Nam and Tran Vin. Tran Vin, although he doesn't have the heart, Ta Nam is different. The standard smiling face guardian, when it comes to evil spirits, he's not as good as him. The male lead smiled and said, This only proves that Uncle Luke is a brilliant person. Kid, please, Uncle Luke, if there's nothing else, I'll go back to school first. There's still an exam to take in the afternoon. Okay, remember to be careful, at the school's noodle shop. Nam Chin was sitting eating noodles when he was startled by someone calling Duong Nin. Chow Tu-Fai ran back from afar and kept talking. Sure enough, you're here. 2nd grade Hua Ba was looking for you just now. They also brought along a lot of people who didn't seem friendly enough to come and cause resentment. If not, don't blame me for not being polite. Chow Tiufai thought to herself upon hearing that. Looks like there's no need to worry anymore, this is Duong Nin. At this time, the teacher was silently grading papers. English subject was only deducted 3 points for writing. But this is Tran Hai's subjective judgment, except for the text. For these 140 achievement points, they should be the national literary champion. The teacher was surprised, sweating profusely and silently said, conducting the test this time was indeed correct. The principal still has an assignment, let's take a look at the afternoon math test. Vong Tri Choyan leaned against the wall and asked his friend who was coming. After listening, I heard that English is only deducted 3 points. It's unclear how many points there are in literature, but the assignment uses ancient writing style. He was surprised, the ancient text, 800 ancient words, even if it was off topic, still got 40 points. So at least this time it got 135 points. He punched the wall angrily and said he had seen a ghost. When it was time for the exam, the teacher spoke loudly in the exam room. The math exam started. The exam teacher came to the male lead and said, Duong Nin, don't hide your talent this time. I heard that your literature and foreign language exams are relatively good, so don't neglect this subject of mine. Where? Nam Chu joked and laughed, while Vong Kai Choyan sat behind him and gritted his teeth in anger. Then he suddenly stood up and said, then in the bathroom, he said to the guy in the yellow jacket, let me remind you this. Perhaps this afternoon maybe that brat will submit his assignment early. What if he can't stop it? Then the guy in the yellow jacket will respond, puffing on a cigarette. Submitting my assignment first. I didn't even bother to go to the exam. It did run around, but luckily you reminded me first. I'll prepare well later. Okay. He takes bus number 3 to Luke Kiu Street and will change to bus number 78. What is your phone number? If he submits his assignment first, I will let you know. You don't need to refuse. Until then, it's okay. The guy in the yellow shirt walked into the exam room and the teacher immediately said, Wah, Dad. He blatantly walked away and said, Mr. Dong, then I'll go arrange everything. See you later. Yes, go. Then he blatantly walked out. The teacher was extremely angry and said, don't let anyone in your eyes. Yes. If you don't want to drink the wine, you'll be fined and you'll have to wait and I'll deal with that guy straight away. An important moment was taking place in Duong Nin's class. Everyone was biting their pens in front of a set of questions that were too difficult for everyone's curriculum as a test to assess potential ability. A tense atmosphere filled the room. All members of the class tried their best to get the best results. Even the bully who was Ta Tandong's friend also appeared helpless. But with Duong Nin's talent and so that he doesn't hide his job or cheat, Mr. Chow is the only person behind him in the class. In his opinion, this is a relatively difficult exam and some questions even surpass the national level or, more accurately, the Olympic level. Not exceeding his expectations, Duong Nin submitted his assignment the earliest in the class even though the time had not yet run out. He was very confident and seemed to have surprised the guy who used to bully him with his previous plot, as he turned in his assignment early. Unexpectedly, the bully secretly used the phone to contact Hua Ba while seeing Chow hand in Duong Nin's assignment. He was sinister and prevented Duong Nin from attending tomorrow's exam and his ambition to win the uprising. Meanwhile, Hua Ba knew Duong Nin's ability and calmly said that it was interesting, giving him a plan in mind after completing the lesson. Duong Nin went home as usual. He knew for sure that someone was plotting to harm him. Someone was following him in car number 3. A middle-aged young man wearing a mask followed him. He recognized him. Thinking correctly that Hua Ba could not predict that he would submit his assignment early, so he let someone monitor him. Sure enough, the person following him informed Hua Ba about him getting on bus number 3. Hua Ba clearly understood the situation and sent a few healthy young men to settle accounts with Duong Nin and told him to wait at school to bring the third graders. He ordered the third grade youth to open their eyes and settle accounts with Duong Nin. At the same time, Duong Nin in the bus saw that he was alone and felt strange. But he remained as calm as ever. No matter who came, he took care of everything and didn't worry. What you said you would give them was a taste of bribery. In another space, at a clothing store, no one is choosing clothes. If you like a few items, that bully will tell you how to compete. Tu Noan honestly said that the topic was quite difficult. Ta Tandong's friend was proud that it was indeed very difficult. Especially the last sentence was over. Feeling bored, Tu Nuon packed her things. I'm so embarrassed. I have to go home. Then you go say hello to that friend. Of course, his friend was very upset when Tu Noan ignored him. He suddenly saw Chow Tiu Fai donating 8,000 yuan to Ms. Nowadays. There are still people who draw blood like that. He doubted whether there was any purpose. He was on a busy street. Tu Noan was leisurely walking home. I don't understand why some young men use their elders to rape her. Blocking Tu Noan's way, acting like it was a coincidence that I met him. The face that wanted to eat him was planning something. That young man invited him to Starbucks and he didn't need to pay. Tu Noan was indifferent. I had something to do, so I didn't want to leave, and replied with a final thank you. The two remaining young men appeared to threaten him fiercely. Like a provocation to Tu Noan's self-esteem, a great beauty or a good young man. Having an admirable academic record, everyone wants to be friends. Telling him not to refuse, Tu Nuon got angry and disinterested and chased them away. The leader not only was not afraid but also threatened him more. Threatened with alcohol and invited him not to drink, but drank alcohol as punishment. Otherwise, Chow Hao Nian appears in time and threatens them. The shirt and pants were normal, but Chow Hao Nian's voice was enough to scare them. A guy tries to act like he's fine, don't worry about anything, but he's not afraid of anything. He knows their strength and his strength is enough to destroy them. Tell them to go away if he doesn't teach them what to do. Is polite. The leader knew that Chow Hao Nian said he could do it, so he said he was crazy and couldn't use reason. They began to sneak away and retreat. Tu Noan thanked Chow Hao Nian for saving him from the thugs. The conversation between the two was bustling. Chow Tay arrived. Chow Tay and Chow Hao Nian were siblings, so Chow Tay asked Tu Noan if he also knew his brother. He also told her about the brother who saved him from the thug. Chow Tay advised him to be wary of Ta Tandong because he is not a good person, so be careful. At the same time, Tu Noan happily played with her and said that Ta Tandong was afraid of her brother, so he was also afraid of her. Chow Hao Nian was confused when she heard it because she didn't understand her sister's strange logic. Tu Noan continued to thank Chow Hao Nian because her brother had relieved him. If not, you'll still be followed by that group. He said don't be rude. At the same time, I also thought that they didn't know whose daughter Tu Noan was, so they were so rude. At that time, the disciples ordered by Hua Ba were extremely upset when Chow Hao Nian saved Tu Noan. The leader saw a Su and asked where he was going with whom. The guy next to him said that the third graders had a grudge against the kid Duang Nin, so they found Hua Ba pleasing to their eyes and recruited him. He also said that Hua Ba was following Duang Nin, so he must have caught him by now. Asked if he should go with him, the leader just realized he could get revenge, so he agreed to go fight. The whole group got on the bus and went to where Duang Nin was. As soon as he got off the bus, he immediately saw Hua Ba standing in front of him, wanting to fight him. He was curious how Hua Ba knew he got out of the car. He didn't say anything and ordered the thugs to take him with them. That group led Duang Nin to the very shabby and spacious rice storage room. Of course, make sure there's no one there other than you and those guys. They looked down on him because he was alone, so they didn't fight back and became discouraged. Duang Nin calmly told Hua Ba that it was just a small matter but a big battle had been set up to deal with him. He laughed at the idea that he was scared. The thugs began to despise him and mock him for being sneaky. Make him choose, one is solo and the other is group play alone. The smile provoked him, but what if he chose not to? Hua Ba's pride told him to kneel down and take off his pants to record a clip and post it online. A confident smile appeared before him, without hesitation. He raised his hand to strangle him, making him unable to breathe, and the whole group of thugs rushed forward one after another. Duang Nin's eyes were full of determination, with his hands grabbing Hua Ba's neck and then using strong force to throw his whole body towards them. His whole body blocked three strong young men with great force, causing all four of them to tumble over each other. He confidently told him not to be so virtuous in the future. Hua Ba, who was initially full of confidence, switched to trembling mode in front of a strong person like Duong Nin. He was afraid that he would act so evilly, from using force mode to negotiating mode. He is afraid of you, telling you that you have no enmity with him and that you can talk properly. You wonder what it means to have no hatred or resentment? You and Hua Ba's group have nothing else to do. Duong Nin, with an unhappy expression, calmly made enemies today. Hua Ba, with his pride diluted, hesitantly told everyone to pick up weapons like sticks and knives. Beat him to the end. The whole group surrounded him. Duong Nin did not tremble a bit, confidently handling both him and the gangsters. Confident that one side is allowed to leave today. With his inherent strength and ability, he could easily defeat them in an instant. Seeing that Hua Ba and the thugs were caught off guard, they ended up knocking Hua Ba down. All the thugs lost to the handicapper. Hua Ba fell to the ground in discomfort and wanted to get up but couldn't. Duong Nin told him to choose quickly. Hua Ba scolded him. He stood up and posed like, I risked my life for you. Duong Nin was so surprised that he couldn't see. You still know how to play holy fists. Hua Ba was surprised. Then Duong Nin said that it was a pity that he displayed the wrong style of holy fist. As soon as I saw you, I knew you were just an arrogant and empty bag. It's like old ladies playing Tai Chi. Hua Ba got angry and punched him to stop his mouth. Duong Nin smirked. It was just an empty box. Then he raised his foot and kicked Hua Ba's hand, making him just hold his arm in pain and grit his teeth. Next, he kicked him in the stomach, causing him to fall to the ground in pain. He looked disdainful and asked if I really didn't understand that just because of what happened in the morning, you wasted time planning to deal with me. Hua Ba lay on the ground with difficulty and answered correctly. He scolded him nervously and then stepped on his hand, causing him to scream in pain. The people on the other side sat on the ground watching in fear. Duong Nin told Hua Ba it wasn't broken, it was just a tight joint. This is just a lesson, also a warning, if there is a next time. Hua Ba panicked, then Duong Nin left. The frightened people said this person was a devil. The voice on the phone asked, Principal, where are you? Duong Nin smiled and replied, it was Chao Te. I'm on the bus about to go home, is something wrong? Chao Te said, Ms. La wanted to invite us to dinner. Said I wanted to thank you. Duong Nin immediately agreed. Okay, where to meet? Somewhere. Ta Ton Dong and the guy next to him looked at the scene before their eyes and gasped. With so many people being beaten so much by that guy alone, Ta Ton Dong was shocked. Looking at Hua Ba crying while holding his injured arm. Hua Ba. One guy struggled to stand up and go to Ta Ton Dong. Young Master Ta, I'll tell you. He whispered something into Ta Ton Dong's ear. Ta Ton Dong listened to him and turned pale and scared. He didn't say he would find me. The golden patty guy wearing a hat shook Hua Ba. Mr. Hua, does he know it's me? Hua Ba replied tiredly. No, I don't say. Ta Ton Dong looked at one of his friends and quickly said. Quickly call Hua Ba's father. Quickly ask him to come here. It's best to bring a chiropractor along. That guy took out his phone. Who did it? Hua Ku screamed. How dare you beat your son like this? Ta Ton Dong stammered. I'm from your school. Named Duong Nin. Hua Ku is hot-blooded. Where is it? You must cut it to death. Dare to dislocate your son's 2 joints. He gave it 2 sausages. A guy saw this and quickly held Hua Ku back. Uncle Hua, calm down. Hua Ku turned to blame them. The other side brought so many people. You didn't even notify me. Don't know how to call someone? They hastily explained. There was only one person on the other side of General Hua. Hua Ku couldn't believe it. One person, Ta Ton Dong replied. Yes, it's just him. There was no one to help. Hua Ku frowned. One person beat you guys like this. Then bullying people is too much. Furthermore, he bullied a whole group of people. Please investigate for me. Investigate information about this person. No matter what that guy's background is, he must die. Ta Ton Dong thought. We must catch that kid. If you don't team up with such a dangerous character, I cannot live in peace. The blonde guy wearing the hat was sweating profusely. Normally, Duong Nin is very easy to bully. Yet he acted so aggressively. In the past, I still tried my best to bully but still survived until now. At the office, perfect score, voice full of surprise. Teachers surround a student's work. The teacher commented that this question was solved relatively well. The solution is even easier to understand than the standard answer. The teacher was surprised. What is the student who ranks last in Duong Nin grade? The teacher standing next to him couldn't believe his eyes. It's true, Duong Nin. I always use him as a bad example for students. A teacher laughed. Congratulations, Mr. Chow. This time our class has another excellent student. Teacher Chow took the assignment and answered it. There is no such thing. This is all the merit of the teachers. In his heart, Mr. Chow was happy. This time I have the prize money in hand. Teacher Chow happily spoke to the teachers in the room. On this happy occasion, I invited everyone to dinner today. Let's go out for a meal, everyone replied in unison. Okay. At Phuong Hoang Lao Hotel, Duong Nin Group. Chow Tae and Ms. Law's family are eating. Ms. La honestly said, if it weren't for you, we don't know how we would have raised so much money. I'm a teacher and don't earn much money. My husband works in company Han Street and his salary is not high. Duong Nin was surprised and turned to ask Ms. Law's husband. What? I work on company Han Street, he replied. That's right. Only receive a basic salary, do the mortgage bookkeeping. At this time, Ta Tondong is stunned. That guy is at Phuong Hoang Lao. Tu Noan and Chow Tae are also there. Yes, I also saw Ms. La. They ate together at the Phoenix floor. Ta Tondong smiled and pulled out a bill. Not bad, reward you. That guy quickly reached out and took it. Thank you, young Master Ta. Ta Tondong darkened his face and walked out. He took out his phone and dialed a number, and Ta Tondong successfully picked up and announced. On this side, the three of Duong Nin and Ms. La and her husband had finished eating and were standing outside. Duong Nin greeted, that's it for today, goodbye Ms. La. Ms. La and her husband also said goodbye and said goodbye. The three of them were walking. Chow Tae asked, student, are you going home now? That's right. I still have the exam tomorrow. Duong Nin replied. Chow Tae wondered. I heard that every time you take an exam, you rank first from bottom to top. Duong Nin quickly denied. Nothing, don't listen to what they say. Suddenly there was a group of people in front blocking the three people from leaving. Ta Tondong smiled. It was truly a fateful fate. Tu Noan, we met again. Ta Tondong, you follow us. A guy in front stepped forward and knocked Chow Tae's phone away. Chow Tae worried, don't be too much. Duong Nin kept Chow Tae for peace. Hua Ku's voice rang out, it was you who broke my son's arms. Hua Ku and his subordinates arrived and Duong Nin recognized them. That said, you came to deal with me this time. Hua Ku replied, not wrong. Duong Nin negotiated. Then you let them go, I'll follow you. How could Hua Ku agree? Who are you to dare to set conditions with me? These two girls are not bad, beautiful bodies, beautiful faces, brought back for you guys to play with. An eager guy touched Tu Noan's shoulder, scaring her. Hee, your petite figure is not bad, Duong Nin shouted loudly. Put your dirty hands away. Duong Nin broke his hand, making him cry out in pain. Ah, Hua Ku seeing Duong Nin like that means, kid, you dare to attack. Come on, catch it for me. A guy rushed forward and before touching Duong Nin punched him in the face. At the same time, he noticed a guy behind him rushing towards Duong Nin, using his crooked hand to punch him in the face. After a while, Hua Ku trembled as he watched his subordinates all fall to the ground. Hua Ku hesitantly said, you, at your young age, who gave you such great courage? Making a malicious move, Duong Nin did not care at all and replied. A living being like you still has the right to speak. Hearing this, Hua Ku immediately rushed forward angrily. Do you want to die, kid? Duong Nin observed. It's also a sacred fist, but it's more real than the hollow Hua Ba. Hua Ku swung his fist. Pop, the sound of collision rang out. Then the two separated from each other. Duong Nin gasped. Lately I've been so strong that I even panicked. Capital believes that being strong can prevail. Yet he was able to block it, Hua Ku also thought. It wasn't injured, nor did it look like it was struggling. Perhaps he has some martial arts skills. This guy is truly indescribably strong. Waku continued to rush forward. Just the body is not enough. I have to show you that technique is the key. Waku swung her fist at Duang Nin's face, but luckily Duang Nin quickly dodged away. Duang Nin is worried. Waku is too difficult to deal with. With my current strength, I was caught by him. The strength of both sides was equal. Waku glanced at his subordinates and gave orders. I'll deal with him. You guys quickly take those two kids away. The rest of you will join me in dealing with this brat. Tu Noan and Xiao Te were scared when they saw this. Ta Tandong laughed loudly. Tu Noan and Xiao Te. Don't try to run away, you two. Obediently serve me tonight. Ha ha ha. Duang Nin frowned and shouted to go. Don't touch them. Waku stopped Duang Nin. Kid, stay still for me. With me here, don't you dare go anywhere. Duang Nin gritted his teeth. You will regret what you did today. Waku confidently said, don't worry, the day I regret it, you absolutely won't have a chance to see it. Duang Nin saw that the situation was not good and made a decision. It seems the only way left is to use that trick. Duang Nin closed his eyes and put his hands in his pockets. Then he opened his eyes and took out a letter containing the growth amplitude of all attributes from his pocket. Including the letter promulgating the growth margin of all attributes. Temporarily raises all attributes by 30 points. Maintaining it for 30 minutes, Duang Nin held it and closed his eyes and clasped his hands together. His body seemed to receive more strength. Waku felt feverish. Something was wrong. As soon as he finished speaking, Duang Nin ran quickly and punched Waku in the stomach. Waku immediately fell to the ground. Then Duang Nin looked back behind him. Waku's subordinates were surrounding Tu Noan and Xiao Te, smiling sinisterly. Honey, listen to me and come here. Someone even said, this girl has long legs, I like her. Duang Nin ran over and grabbed the heads of those two guys, smashing them together. The people next to him turned pale. What's going on? Didn't the boss keep this killing star? Duang Nin glanced at the guy who spoke angrily. Because of you idiots, I wasted 1,000 points. Duang Nin attacked and a guy fell in front of Ta Tandong. Ta Tandong was scared. He couldn't believe his eyes. Duang Nin thought about what to do now. With so many people watching, he couldn't kill anyone, but from beginning to end, this nonsense was caused by Ta Tandong. If he didn't get rid of it, he couldn't swallow his anger. Duang Nin's eyes emitted red electric rays towards Ta Tandong. Ta Tandong looked at that thing approaching and trembled. That red ray from Duang Nin's eyes passed to Ta Tandong's eyes. Duang Nin looked at Ta Tandong's past memories in surprise. This is Ta Tandong's memories, isn't it? This is magic, and can even read other people's thoughts. It turns out this guy still dreamed of becoming a martial arts master. Duang Nin curled his mouth. Then let me complete it for you. This is a bit big. Looks like we have to find someone to clean it up. Don't tell your dad for now. Xiao Te looked at Ta Tandong who was standing silently without moving. Student, Ta Tandong, Duang Nin laughed. Don't pay attention to him. I'll take you two home. Ta Tandong is looking down right now. Suddenly he trembled and laughed. Ta Tandong's eyes filled with red gas. Bitch ta kiem fa, haha, I finally got it. Passers-by looked at the scene before their eyes and were speechless. They were stunned. What's wrong with this person? Some people wonder. Are you filming? Someone else replied. I can't see the camera anywhere. You must be crazy. Then Ta Tandong pulled out a small knife. Ta Tandong raised the knife. Once he mastered the magic, he could roam all four directions and become unparalleled in the world. After saying that, he slashed himself there, causing blood to spurt out. Passers-by got goosebumps. Mom, he stabbed himself. Call an ambulance, there's going to be a murder. Ta Tandong's hands were full of blood holding the book. His face turned pale as he read the next page. What is this? The second page read. Even if self-castration is not guaranteed to be successful. The third page is, you just need to have great willpower. Self-castration is not necessary and can be successful. Ta Tandong was so angry that he vomited blood. Are you kidding me? Seeing Ta Tandong fall, everyone was talking. I teased myself to the point of being disabled, and even made myself so angry that I bled. Others were also surprised. Having just arrived in the city, it was truly an eye-opener. City people play too loudly. In other places, taxis stop on the side of the road. No one said to the two people inside the car. I'm here, go ahead, goodbye. They replied, okay, be careful on the road. Inside the car, Duong Nin and Xiao Te were silent. The driver saw this and thought they were arguing, so he advised them. Boy, if you make your girlfriend angry, men have to be more generous. Girls are for us to comfort, and your girlfriend is so pretty. Driver, you misunderstood, we are just classmates. A taxi parked in front of the gate of a luxurious villa, the magnificent Ngu Na Villa. Under the sunlight, the beauty of that villa is even more evident. Duong Nin and Xiao Te got down from the taxi. Duong Nin seemed surprised by the splendor of the villa. He raised his neck and widened his eyes to look at the Ngu Na Villa in front of him. You're here, but you can't see that you're still a rich kid. Senior, don't joke around, don't let my dad hear. Duong Nin bent down and brought his handsome face close to Xiao Te's. He still couldn't stop teasing her. Seeing her blushing shyly was truly a beautiful and fun sight. Threatening your father won't work. Second, you and I cook the rice into rice and then call his father-in-law and he will definitely laugh all day. As soon as she heard this sentence, but before she could react, a voice rang out, what is called rice cooked into rice? Both of them turned around in surprise and saw a purple-haired man whose eyes were filled with murderous intent. On the face there are some similarities to brown hair. You're so good that you dared to come here and act like a scoundrel last night. As soon as Xiao Te saw him, he happily called out. You, and Duong Nin's mouth opened in surprise. Unexpectedly, the words he just said to tease her were heard by her brother. Is this any different from doing bad things and getting caught red-handed? I'm a little guilty, your brother. Without giving Duong Nin time to react, Chao Hao Nian rushed forward to protect her sister. Don't be afraid, I'm here so I can beat this scoundrel to death. The brat continued, and as soon as he finished speaking, he swung a punch straight at Duong Nin. This punch was so strong that it sounded like it was tearing the wind around. After that, the other punches continued to fall. Duong Nin kept dodging with a panicked look on his face. Maybe it was because the opponent was Xiao Te's brother. Seeing Duong Nin continuously dodge without attacking Chao Hao Nian felt like he was humiliated. Could it be that you just avoid it? Duong Nin objected. If you hit me, why can't I avoid it? Chao Hao Nian's lungs exploded. If you have the courage, don't avoid being a man. We have to fight a good fight. Xiao Te stood next to witness his brother continuously attacking Duong Nin and became angry. She shouted to her brother, Chao Hao Nian, are you crazy enough? Being yelled at by his sister in front of outsiders and being called a flirt. Chao Hao Nian was immediately bewildered, not expecting his sister to scold him and not the other guy. Duong Nin also did not expect Xiao Te to protect him. Xiao Te must explain to Chao Hao Nian. He is Duong Nin, not a scoundrel at all. After listening to his sister's explanation, although he was still very dissatisfied, Chao Hao Nian calmed down and no longer attacked Duong Nin. Duong Nin, after repeating Duong Nin's name in his mouth once, suddenly remembered his identity. Oh, you are Duong Nin. I heard that you run very fast and even broke the world record. When Duong Nin was recognized by others, he also smiled shyly and raised his hand to rub his head. Even though Chao Hao Nian couldn't beat Duong Nin, he was very upset, but he still said goodbye to Duong Nin. Duong Nin shyly thought to himself, are you praising or humiliating me? It seems this brother doesn't like him very much. Xiao Te patted Duong Nin's shoulder and turned to talk to Chao Hao Nian, who was standing to the side with a black face. If you don't fight, don't get used to it. Go into the house and say it. Duong Nin felt shy in front of the student's older brother who was afraid to enter. He smiled mischievously at Xiao Te, pointed at his face and said, it's so late. Without letting Duong Nin finish his sentence, Chao Hao Nian walked in front and turned to look at him. The words were full of menace. Let's go, didn't you say you wanted to meet your father-in-law? Duong Nin listened and thought to himself. Aren't you the type of cold man who doesn't joke easily? The cold exterior covers an uneasy heart. Upon hearing Chow Hao Nian threaten Duong Nin, Chow Tae immediately stood up to protect him. Chow Hao Nian, do you believe I'll stuff you deep into your mouth tonight? After hearing this, Chow Hao Nian felt goosebumps and her face turned pale and scared. Perhaps he has eaten a lot of suffering from Western Europe. Duong Nin saw Chow Hao Nian in trouble and felt happy in his heart. Maybe this guy was once pranked by his sister. Chow Tae, with her enthusiastic appearance like fire, would also be this mischievous? The two Chow cousins who had just disagreed were now talking happily as if nothing had happened. You know, today, Ta Tandong, perhaps the relationship between the two brothers has always been good. Small conflicts like this make their relationship even better. Duong Nin is looking forward to meeting his future father-in-law. These two brothers act very well. The person called Va Vac is not even more powerful. Hearing Chow Tae mention that person, Chow Hao Nian immediately became angry. Ta Tandong, you bastard, dare to treat me like that. Don't let me meet him or I'll take it to make fish sauce. Duong Nin, who was listening behind him, gave a very rude and indecent smile. You said it a bit late. Just as he opened the door to bring the two men into the house, a voice called Chow Tae. West West. Chow Tae called out loudly, Dad, then she ran to hug Chow Dean Lok. Crying non-stop, Chow Dean Lok immediately fell in love with his daughter. What's wrong, Tae Tae, don't cry. Whoever bullied my daughter, tell me, I'll deal with that person. He held his head and patted his little daughter, then glared at Duong Nin. At this time, Chow Hao Nian spoke up and told the story. Chow Dean Lok, after hearing the incident again, became angry and slammed his hand on the table. He woke up and screamed in anger. Ta K-ban raises a child who dares to play tricks on his father's child. Without demanding justice, Chow Dean Lok no longer has any face in this world. Chow Hao Nian still stood there encouraging him to calm down. Chow Tae in the back was still hugging and crying. Duong Nin seemed to realize something. Chow Dean Lok, it seems Luke Kwok Huan once mentioned this name. Apparently he is the boss of a large gang named Kai Nia. As a person who firmly maintains trust, people evaluate him very well. A moment later, Chow Dean Lok happily expressed his thanks. Boy, thank you very much. Duong Nin felt shy. He raised his hand and scratched his head and said, You are too polite. Actually, this matter also has something to do with you. If it weren't for you, Chow Dean Lok still full of praise. He said, I can't blame you for this, you did very well. Waku's son deserved it. But I'm very surprised, you can fight against Waku. Waku has practiced martial arts for 2 years. Boy, I'm very curious, who is your master? Hearing this, Duong Nin's sweat dropped and felt it was difficult to say. He hesitated, seeing that Duong Nin was not comfortable answering my question. He said again that I was a bit sudden. If it wasn't convenient for me to say it, I wouldn't ask anymore. To get justice for his daughter, Chow Dean Lok made a decision. He called someone over and said, Aho, quickly lead people to level Waku's area. The junior obediently obeyed the order, after the other guy left. Chow Dean Lok said to himself, that take advantage of this opportunity. I will definitely teach him a lesson he will remember for life. Don't think I'm a ripe persimmon, you can massage me however you want. At the hospital, K-bin's wife felt sorry for her son and cried bitterly. Faced with the critical situation, K-ban was both worried and frustrated. His wife cried and moaned while saying, K-bin, can't that thing of Tandong's be reattached? He shouted angrily, how could he know? His wife cried pitifully again, she complained, who was so cruel? K-ban half believed and half doubted his prediction. It seemed like Tandong cut it himself. His wife replied calmly. How could Tandong do it himself, to prove his words? K-ban showed the phone with the recorded video. He said, someone recorded it, you can see it yourself. After watching the video, she felt even more heartbroken. She covered her face and cried to heaven and earth, it was impossible. Tandong could not do this. K-bin was angry and angry. He screamed, enough is enough, if you want to cry then go home. After saying that, he left his wife holding her face and crying. He said, I'll go see Waku, at the hospital bed where Waku lies. He reported the incident to K-Bin, therefore. That's how things are. K-Bin closed his eyes and thought. He said, saying that, Tandong suddenly went crazy and was probably scared. Waku blamed herself. This is the most reasonable explanation. If I had known that something would happen, I would not have let the boy go with me. Because I was too confident. K-Ban was angry and angry. You can't blame me for this. Have you thoroughly investigated that guy Duong Nin? Waku replied, with such skill, I'm afraid it's a bit of a pedestal. But perhaps there is a limit, otherwise it would be such a big deal. Why hasn't Director Man made any move? He raised his hand that was transferring water and scratched the blanket. Immediately, Waku came up with a plan to deal with Duong Nin. If that's the case, I'll tell Mr. Man to arrest that boy, no matter what the purpose is. Just fighting on the street is enough to put him in jail for a few days. K-Ban heard Waku's plan and immediately continued. If its house has a pedestal, definitely think of a way to reveal it. By then we can evaluate, if not. Before K-Ban finished speaking, Waku understood, so there was no need to worry anymore. He praised, good idea. At this moment K-Bin's phone suddenly vibrated. The call from the shop owner surprised him without asking. K-Ban had just picked up the phone when bad news arrived. On the other side, his juniors quickly reported the news. Mr. Ta had a big incident and someone came to smash the shop. As if blaming the Ta family's current situation isn't enough, now even the business is failing. K-Ban couldn't help but say something. This news made him unable to help but worry. Waku, who was lying on the hospital bed, immediately discovered the origin of the incident. He angrily said, poor Chow Dean Lok dared to spill the beans. The person on the other side continuously gave bad news, but now the words that reached K-Ban's ears were a win or a loss. I'm the technician's manager and someone is coming. I'm calling from the bar. We're being mobbed. K-Ban's anger doesn't know where it's at. His hand holding the phone was constantly shaking with anger. His ears were flaring and he couldn't get through. While he was lying in his hospital bed, playing a sneak attack game, you guys wouldn't die completely. K-Ban calmed down and ended the call, then walked to the hospital bed and spoke calmly. Don't get excited, now your task is to keep the wound well. After Waku spoke, the guy with a calm face rested for a moment. After that, I continued to swear to the heavens. Now that I have engraved my hatred in Chow Dean Lok's heart, I will definitely not forgive you. The scene changes to a corner of a pedestrian street. Duong Nin is putting his hands in his pants pockets while walking on the street. His eyes are directed to the small jewelry store on the side of the road. His eyes are glued to a pair of simple but still exuding earrings. Elegance and ease of coordination. Duong Nin pointed at the earring and said, my boss bought this. Right now, the system notification pops up saying, famous mission, every day has been completed. Duong Nin held a pair of bracelets in his hand and excitedly said to himself. Okay, today the fame mission has been completed. Let's see if there's anything interesting after yesterday's incident. Now it's like the news on my phone has changed, making my face beam with joy. This is real. On the phone screen, an image with the same caption line appears as notifications about new news. Currently, the image of a male figure being carried onto an ambulance stretcher appears. Below are printed the words, the owner likes a young man, who mysteriously castrated himself for unknown reasons. Duong Nin looked at the good things he had done and couldn't help but exclaim that this mobilization technique was so overbearing. There was a flash of relief in his eyes. It looks like I won't have to see that hateful guy again for a long time to come, he said, turning around and leaving. Facing recent difficulties has changed his mind a bit. He just thought to himself that things could no longer be honest. See what your next step is. Currently, not only one article has a lot of headlines, but newspapers on websites appear one after another. This is a mysterious character alone with a group of people. One person guards the city of 10,000 and is impregnable. Now comes the recent news. Why self-castration in the middle of the road is suspected to be related to neurological problems. If you want to practice this method, you must castrate yourself. Strange things that make you angry are true. All of these are remarkable achievements of Duong Nin. He cannot help but make people move from the young to the elderly from next year, if their eyes widen when they look at the new headlines in the newspaper that no one knows about the events. This all comes from the same person. This time the surrounding landscape suddenly changed. Currently in front of us is a tall, ancient building with yellow sheets, creating a warm feeling for those who are admiring it. A little bit of pale sunlight and a corner of the court make this place more magnificent than ever. After saying that, he put the phone in his pocket and leaned back on the bed, praising that magic technique. The magic trick was so powerful. However, it is also because the use of the edict to increase all energy attributes above 90% is good. As if he suddenly remembered something, Duong Nin started to stand up and said humorously, "Oh right. I almost forgot there was a treasure in the warehouse that I hadn't touched yet." A 3D dimension opened before his eyes, and a chest appeared from that dimension into real life. At the same time, the system rang a message to remind him. The host who had the appraisal eye was successfully upgraded to a seeing eye because the two abilities could not coexist, but the appraisal eye was removed. Duong Nin raised his hand and pressed it on the system panel in front of him and said, "Seeing through eyes. Let's see what new functions there are." The common pop-up message of the see-through eye starts the see-through eye. Sight can see through the surface of things and can then be examined within a pseudo-scanning range of 50 meters in circumference. Duong Nin happily said this. He turned his eyes to look down at his feet. Not only can you see the magnetic field around your feet, but you can also see through the floor to the bedroom below. This function is considered temporary, he said. Not only can it be used for assessment, it can even be used for tracking, searching and searching. However, because he was not proficient in using this item, just wearing it for a while made him dizzy. "Oh, I'm so tired, my eyes are so uncomfortable." Duong Nin sighed with a sad face and said that using his ability would cause him to waste energy. Sure enough, as long as it is related to the energy attribute, the higher the energy index, the slower the consumption rate, the higher the limit, and the faster the recovery speed. Right now, he is determined that everyone must upgrade their energy to be able to hone their powers and use items. Duong Nin thought about it and immediately opened the Duong treasure to look for things. You must definitely think of a way to refill your energy attribute. Suddenly a notice board appeared, attracting his attention. The new notice states that the 1,000-year-old agarwood has been discovered to be of exceptionally good quality. According to the system's objective assessment of the item inside, there are 5 pieces of southern agarwood. Can be used to contain repair letters for retrieval. This has a special, mild scent that is unmatched by any other type of agarwood and retains its scent for an extremely long time. The fragrance that flies thousands of meters away also has the effect of repelling evil spirits and preventing diseases from penetrating from outside. Also known as a masterpiece in the world of agarwood. The value is very high but no one buys it, about 2,600,000 in flower money. Duong Nin was horrified and said that the system offered a price of 2,600,000. If it was actually sold, wouldn't the price be as high as 1 billion? Facing the bargain in front of Duong Nin was even more confused. Quickly find the summoning item on the 3 bulletin boards in front of you. A must-have for remodeling projector. A must-have, it shouldn't be too expensive. After a while of searching, another roll of mats appeared on the board with the word 2 on it. Duong Nin happily said that's it. Renovated projection system, normal quality, requires 50 accumulated points. After reading, Duong Nin sighed and said he wanted a special kind. It's not very expensive, there's still a shortfall of 60 points. Another 600,000 yuan transaction needs to be completed. Sigh. I'm still poor. At the police department, a voice said General Ta Waku's matter is a bit troublesome. The police officer leaned against his desk in discomfort when he heard the complaints from the other end of the line. On the other line is Ta Kban, he said to the Attorney General's office. I need you to arrange this matter. If you need to use money or people, let me think of a way. Director Man frowned and asked why there was such a conflict between him and Kai Nia's people. Many places demand life and death, see the list, all of which are owned by him. Ta K-ban continued to use the tactic of blaming Dean Locke for being a terrible bastard. Director Man, you already know why you still ask. Director Man helplessly said now was a sensitive time. Ta Tong, don't make things difficult for me, okay? Ta K-ban had an idea and said I wanted Director Man to temporarily detain Duong Nin for a few days. Hearing this, Director Man thanked the general. This is not easy. Ta K-ban had already planned and said he hoped Director Man would help me. I remember your great gratitude in my heart. Because of Tan Dong's matter, a Fuang's maternal family will come here once. Hearing this, Director Man Jiak thought that Lila Fuang's maternal family had close ties to the political and business world. If the Li family values themselves, they can be re-elected in the next term. He immediately responded, telling me about the young man named Duong Nin. Ta K-ban happily said that, bothering Director Man. Early the next morning, at Duong Nin's school, Vong Tri Choyan was anxiously hiding behind a wall, as if hiding from someone. Then he took out his phone and thought that the video on the internet about the one-on-one fight with many people was Duong Nin. As for Ta Tan Dong, absolutely do not find out that you are involved in this matter. If time could go back, I would definitely not get involved with that type of comet. Is Duong Nin waiting for the opportunity to deal with him? Thinking about it, he opened the classroom door to look and saw Duong Nin sitting calmly reading a book. Right now I'm thinking that today's general exam is about natural subjects. However, Vong Tri Choyan thought it was not paying attention to him. The signaling bell rang loudly, and the teachers in the exam rooms simultaneously announced the start of the exam. The students took their seats and at the end of the exam, Duong Nin happily bent her waist and spoke for an hour and a half. It took quite a while, but suddenly two policemen approached him. A person presented documents saying he was the person who caused trouble on Phai Duong Street yesterday. What's the name? Seeing that, Duong Nin remained calm. He raised his eyebrows and asked if the other participants had also gone to the police station. Has that police officer responded to that yet? Duong Nin said in disgust that he forgives bad people. Come to ask the victim to help with the investigation? That police officer still stubbornly said to handcuff him and take him away. Duong Nin angrily shouted at the brother. While Duong Nin was talking to two policemen, a middle-aged man approached and asked who they were. Everyone simultaneously called that person Master Chow. The non-police officer replied that we were the police. Hearing that, did Mr. Chow respond to the police? Whoever you are, remember one thing. This is school. Stay away from my school. That police officer still firmly said he was involved in organizing the fight. We invited him to the station to cooperate with the investigation. Listen. Teacher Chow turned to Duong Nin and asked if he was organizing a fight. Mister, if you don't accept it, do you believe I'll handcuff you and take you away? Teacher Chow angrily said, shut up. This is a school, not a place where you guys make trouble. If you want to arrest someone, give me a warrant. If not, then leave quickly. These two policemen were immediately stopped by Mr. Chow. The two of them had difficulty saying the arrest warrant. Do not have. Hearing unpleasant words from the police, Teacher Chow got angry and said if I was good, he would take me away. The police can arrest people at will. Duong Nin immediately ran back to stop the teacher. Master Chow, don't get excited. In his heart, he always felt that the homeroom leader liked to make achievements for his own benefit. Unexpectedly, the teacher also had good intentions. Without waiting any longer, Mr. Chow immediately pulled out his phone and said Hello, principal? Teacher, this scene is not good. The male police officer turned around and whispered loudly. Call Director Man. At Director Man's side, when he received their call, he immediately angrily said 2 buckets of rice. Tell them to do something and make a mess. He immediately ordered Tiu go. He went to Tam Trung school once. Let's solve it. Tiu go didn't think about anything. Reply yes, chief, I'll go now. When arriving at school, Tiu go looked for everyone. In front of him, he saw 2 policemen talking to the principal very tensely. Unexpectedly, Duong Nin turned her eyes towards him. Recognizing the familiar person, Tiu go immediately hid behind the wall. Panicked and said it was him. They don't realize it, but I do. He was the kid at Lu Ti restaurant last week. That day's incident caused Director Tran to be dismissed. After saying that, Tu Go immediately took out his phone and called Director Man. You report everything, Director Man. This Duong Nin cannot be touched. Hearing that, Director Man on the other end of the line also panicked and asked something again. Tu Go immediately said that Duong Nin was the person who caused Director Tran to lose his position, and had a close relationship with Luke Kwok Huan. Hearing this, Director Man immediately shouted and called those two bastards back here. Tell them, I won't see them in 10 minutes. Don't work anymore from now on, just ease those people's moods. Don't be rude, Tu Go tiredly replied to Director Man. Don't worry, I know what to do. At the hospital, Ta K-ban happily picked up the phone and said hello, Director Man. Have you caught that kid yet? Director Man put his hand on his forehead and said dejectedly to Mr. Ta. I see in the video there are 2 more little girls. Who are they? Hua Ku is injured and lying on a hospital bed. Hearing that, a guy named Chow Tae answered. The remaining children only know their last name, too, and are both students at Tam Trung School. Just hearing the name Director Man was like lightning hitting my ears. Sweating all over, I thought the surname was Tu, the principal of Tam Trung. Ta K-ban picked up his phone and asked hello, has Director Man captured Duong Nin? Man Fai Vu harshly said to Mr. We have no enmity or resentment, why did you do this to me? That Ta family, I don't worry about this anymore, you have the ability to catch it yourself. Don't drag me into it. Hearing these words, Ta K-ban frowned and said he wouldn't do it anymore. Man Fai Vu, listening to your tone, I just want to stand and watch, and still want to draw a clear boundary with me? Okay, Man Fai Vu, I remember this story, and a Fuang's grandmother also remembers it. Before I finished speaking, the other end of the line hung up. Ta K-bin got angry and scolded Man Fai Vu, that bastard turned his face. Just a lowly director who dares to do that, just wait. I won't leave you in peace. Turning off the phone, Man Fai Vu sighed. The promotion path will be affected, but, if I don't do that, not only will I offend that kid Duong Nin whose background is unknown, but I will also offend Mayor too, then I won't be able to keep this seat anymore. We can only wait until the end of the term, at school. Police officer Go Ban happily came over and said, oh, this guy is the victim. There is no need to go to the police department to take a statement. It's okay at school. After saying that, he turned to the 2 policemen and asked, right? The police officer arrogantly said, Go Ban, what you said is not right. Taking the confession in front of the gate is too arbitrary, we must go to the bureau. Go Ban frowned and said to Mak Hong, this is Deputy Bureau Man's decision. If you have an opinion, tell him. Mak Hong heard that and got angry and told him his attitude. Go Bin seriously said to Mak Hong, I think you misunderstood Deputy Bureau Man's meaning. Now I see that he is hiding something that he doesn't want others to know. Looks like I have to report to Deputy Bureau Man. The 2 police officers opposite are a bit worried. Go Ban looked at Duong Bin and thought that he hoped this would make them think that Deputy Bureau Man was not involved in this matter. The police were also helpless and told Go Ban to look into it and solve the problem. Mak Hong gritted his teeth and said, Officer Go, I will remember this matter well. After saying that, the 2 immediately left. The matter was resolved. Go Bin turned around and happily said, I didn't think things would turn out like that. Hi. The oral confession was left for another day. The principal also friendly said, this policeman really understands things. He is better at handling things than the other 2. It's good that our country has many people's guards like you. Duong Nin is in the back also depressed. Hearing the compliments given to him, Go Bin scratched his head and said that the principal had said too much. The comrades in the department were all very responsible. Mak Hong and Lak Fai are not like that normally. I don't know what they ate wrong today. Everyone, don't accept them. If the principal whispers something in your ear, it might hit you right in the heart. They have their own intentions. Go Bin forced a smile and said it's possible. Then Go Ban stood up straight and said, Deputy Bureau Man said, everyone is welcome to eat at lunch, as an apology. At the same time, there is something related to what happened last night on Phai Duong Street. Wanted to ask this student, Duong Nin was disgusted and thought to himself that he would be so annoying. He didn't want to go. When he was about to say something, he was immediately interrupted by the principal. There is a private room, you can order food, at the police station. Man Fivu immediately asked Alo and Tiu Go how to solve the problem. How about arranging to eat together? When he heard the story on the other end of the line, he immediately said, Go Ban, good job, I will come. I will arrive on time, turn off the phone. After turning off the phone, another phone number immediately called. It was Ha Market. Seeing this, Man Fivu wondered a bit about Ha Tianhong. Without hesitation, he picked up the phone and said, Hong Market, are you looking for me? Ha Tianhong called Man Fivu on the phone. Director Man was on the phone, sweating and looking a bit bad. Mayor Ha said that Mr. Man took the incident at Phai Duong Street in the province relatively seriously, putting some pressure on the city committee. The city committee's intention was to quickly investigate. Hearing this, Man Fivu's face immediately became serious. He frowned and gloomily explained the incident. He said, Market Ha, this is not difficult, but the characters involved are a bit complicated. What Man Fivu said surprised Ha Tianhong. On the phone he asked, Say, is there anyone? Man Fivu immediately explained to Ha Tianhong. He began to speak. On one side is the old general of Longflower Estate Ta Keban. On one side is a young man named Duong Nin, and there are two female students. One is from Chao Tay, the other is from Tu. Duong Nin is the kid at Lu Ti restaurant last week. Suddenly, Ha Tianhong's side heard that and quickly asked Man Fivu in doubt. He said, Wait, you said one of the two other students is named Tu. Man Fivu was not surprised by his question. Just frowned in response and said, Yes. Hearing Man Fivu's affirmation, Ha Tianhong immediately hung up. He left a message for Man Fivu. He said, I still have something to do. I'll call you later. Man Fivu calmly seemed to understand Ha Tianhong's meaning. He had thought of something, not in a hurry. He stated his own thoughts. He said, It seems like my prediction is the same. Maybe Tu Dubok has already found the door. If true, Tu Dubok will definitely come forward and help the police resist pressure from the Li family. If so, I'm on the right side. Now go meet the kid Duong Nin. Change the scene to a large modern building. The inside of the dining room has an ancient feel, but in fact each item is very expensive. There are 6 people sitting around the table including Duong Nin and Man Fivu. Someone was standing up to drink with everyone, and Man Fivu suddenly raised his glass. The despicable face smiled in a friendly and dignified manner. He said respectfully, What happened today was a bit irresponsible. I sincerely apologize to everyone. Seeing that, Duong Nin immediately followed him. Smiling, he sympathized with the generosity of this fake fox. He said, Deputy Director Man is being polite. I can't blame you. Police Officer Go said, Perhaps some people's selfishness is not transparent. He said as he raised his glass to the cluster of glasses with Man Fivu. The scene was so full of emotion that the people present were startled and Mr. Go was stunned. He thought to himself, What is Duong Nin's background? The director must personally apologize. The remaining people suddenly sweated like they couldn't believe their eyes. Thinking about what was happening before his eyes, Duong Nin seemed not to care about everyone's reactions. He innocently smiled at Man Fivu and said cheerfully, Sure enough, if everyone was as responsible as Deputy Man and Police Officer Go, I believe Mizan of Nam Ho City would be very good. What he said made everyone even more surprised. I feel like I can't believe what I'm hearing. Man Fivu felt that Duong Nin had praised him too much. Immediately Lung Tung laughed it off. He said, Actually, I don't think you did a good job. You accidentally made a mistake and made everyone upset. It's really embarrassing. The teacher immediately stood up and offered to help Man Fivu. Director Man is being polite. Let's eat. Suddenly Man Fivu turned to ask, startling Duong Nin. He intended to probe him, saying, Duong Nin, about the incident on Phai Duong Street. Can you tell me what happened? Duong Nin appeared sincere. He innocently replied, that. Actually, it has to do with the flag-raising ceremony yesterday. Duong Nin just laughed and told the story, making Man Fai Vu's face confused. Not knowing what to say next, Teacher Chow was startled and worried when he heard it. I thought to myself, it's such a big deal, but luckily she's calm. Man Fai Vu has not yet given up his idea. He continued to probe Duong Nin. He said, that's right, didn't you say that there were 2 girls at that time? Who is it? Can you tell me a bit? Duong Nin looked at him contemptuously, already seeing through this old fox's thoughts. Secretly disdainful, looking at the situation, the director knows me. Also knew the story about 2 Noan, as well as Go Ban. This time, he couldn't blame them. Duong Nin just responded gently. One is the student council president, the other is in my class. Named 2 Noan, the teacher immediately reacted strongly to Duong Nin's words. He slammed the table and stood up. His reaction was extremely shocking, making everyone around him startled. Shouted, what? 2 Noan is also present. No, I have to go ask. The teacher's hasty actions made the others extremely surprised. Looking at him with puzzled eyes, Man Fai Vu secretly smiled. It seems he has achieved his goal. With a proud look in his eyes, he thought to himself, indeed, 2 Noan's identity was confirmed. My bet was right. At this moment Man Fai Vu's phone rang. It turned out that T Ha was calling. He quickly picked up the phone. From the other end of the line came Ha Thin Hong's voice. Man Fai Vu immediately obeyed the order. He told Mayor Ha to rest assured that I would personally lead the team to arrest Waku and listen to Ha Thin Hong's instructions. Man Fai Vu had already guessed in his heart. It seemed that Ha Thin Hong already knew him. 2 Noan's fate. He quickly stood up, showing regret and apologizing to everyone. He said, the superiors suddenly gave an order. Today's meal cannot be finished. Next time I have a chance, I will apologize to everyone. The scene changes to the classroom. 2 Noan is talking to Duong Nin. She looks unhappy, her face sulks and blames him. She said, my father knows, he is very angry. And blame me for not telling him, you didn't let me tell Dad. Going to tell someone else. 2 Noan crossed his arms and looked angry at Duong Nin and Tak An. However, Duong Nin was very calm. Suddenly, Chow Tiu Fai rushed over and interrupted the 2 people's conversation. 2 Noan turned her head to look at him. He asked Duong Nin urgently. He asked Duong Nin if he could naturally synthesize it. Duong Nin acted arrogant towards Chow Tiu Fai and leisurely said, so, not sure. His itchy appearance made Chow Tiu Fai a bit annoyed. He tried to hold back his anger and intended to expose Duong Nin. Vong Tri Choyan pulled out a stack of money and gave it to the class president. He said, class monitor, here is my 1,000 yuan donation. The class president was surprised by his actions and asked Vong Tri Choyan in return, and he also contributed 1,000 yuan. Chow Tiu Fai stood to the side, looking disgusted at Vong Tri Choyan's actions. Crossed his arms and looked smugly, smirked and said, oh, you're learning from me. You're really not creative. Unexpectedly, Vong Tri Choyan heard Chow Tiu Fai's words. He turned around, startling Tiu Fai. He said, it's none of your business how much you contribute. The class monitor looked at the 2 people wonderingly. Chow Tiu Fai stood there in surprise. He was surprised to see Vong Tri Choyan react so calmly. He asked, is it evil? Vong Tri Choyan doesn't get angry with me. It's not like he's changed his personality. Duong Nin looked at Vong Tri Choyan uncomfortably and responded to Tiu Fai. He said, maybe he didn't test well, he's in a bad mood. You 2 can't know that Vong Tri Choyan's insides are screaming fiercely. He turned away in fear, silently saying to himself, I want to quickly get away from this scary guy. After returning home, Vong Tri Choyan found his father to talk. He said, Dad, quickly go through the transfer procedures for me. If I go to that school, my chances of getting into college will be greater. Vong Tri Choyan's father was surprised. With a surprised look on his face he asked him again, you've decided to change schools, why so suddenly? Vong Tri Choyan did not dare to tell his father the reason. In my mind, Traffic University is not important. The important thing is, he frowned and thought. In my mind, the image of Duong Nin and Tiu Fai laughing happily appeared. Vong Tri Choyan's insides exploded with fear. I want to avoid that scary guy. If I don't cause trouble, I can't escape. You're really so scared that you want to cry. At the big hospital, Man Faivu led a group of policemen with majestic force to push the door into the hospital room. Inside is Hua Ku lying on the hospital bed with her head bandaged with Ta K Ban sitting next to her. Both were startled by the appearance of the police. Ta K Bin panicked and rushed forward to ask, Chief Man, why did you bring so many people here? I thought you just stood there and decided to take our side. Man Faivu put on a majestic appearance in front of everyone. Seriously said, General Ta, this is an order from above. I want to invite you to the police department to cooperate in the investigation. Ta K Bin showed his bitterness and discomfort. He is thinking, knowing that we have the Li family behind us, we still dare to come. How solid is the power behind Duong Nin? On the surface, he still refused to cooperate with the police. He said, if it's a joint investigation, Director Man is threatening me with such a big show. Man Faivu directly took out a clearly signed arrest warrant. Stern said, of course not. Mayor Ha personally ordered the arrest of Hua Ku. This is an arrest warrant. Two police officers quickly rushed up to grab Hua Ku on the hospital bed, not giving him a chance to escape. Hua Ku cried out for not being obedient. I'm a patient. Don't arrest me. Man Faivu turned to ask the cautious Ta K Ban. He said, Ta Tong, are you willing to cooperate or should we use another way to invite you? Ta K Ban was now so angry that he lost his temper. He shouted, Man Faivu, remember what you did today. I'll go by myself. Man Faivu's face was unsightly as he led Ta K Ban away. As soon as I left the hospital room, I saw my wife coming home. She looked at her husband with a worried face and asked, what happened? Ta K Ban didn't have time to say much, he just quickly sent his message. Fuang, tell your eldest uncle to apologize to you. I can't pick you up, someone doesn't want us to live in peace. She worriedly watched her husband's back being led away by the police. With a worried and shocked face, she picked up the phone to comfort her husband and said, wait a moment. In company kin quarter with lanterns hanging everywhere. Duong Nin is freely walking around on his own. He put his hands on his head and walked slowly, admiring the stalls. He was thinking, today's daily mission is not completed. After observing for a while, he thought, they were all imitations of literary objects. It's no use, it seems like I have to go to the pawn shop. Thinking about it, Duong Nin went to a pawn shop. He looked at the product once and then pointed to two bracelets. Asking, boss, how are these dragon and phoenix bracelets sold? This pair of bracelets with the dragon and phoenix pattern intricately carved in every detail, made from gold, looks very eye-catching and luxurious. It costs up to 38,000 Vietnamese dongs. Bad. After hearing this, Duong Nin couldn't help but startled and asked again. It's so expensive. When the shop owner heard that, he waved his hand in annoyance and wanted to chase you away. He said, if you think it's expensive, don't buy it. The kid's nose is still not clean enough to learn and ask people to see the gold. Wasting his time. Hearing this sentence, Duong Nin angrily changed his face and glared at the shop owner. The salesman immediately changed his expression and said, what do you want to buy in the afternoon? Let me introduce you? Duong Nin heard that and thought to himself that this sentence is not wrong for a person who leans on a Buddha's robe and is covered with gold. Then he left the pawn shop leisurely and went to another shop. As soon as he entered the store, Duong Nin was bewildered and looked everywhere. Suddenly the salesman called him and asked him what he wanted to buy. The welcoming face of this seller made Duong Nin happy. He suddenly remembered the purpose of going to the pawn shop and asked the salesperson where the pawned items were located. The salesperson immediately gave enthusiastic advice here, so you can slowly see what you need and call me. While Duong Nin looked at the earrings displayed on the glass cabinet, a couple also came to the pawn shop. He looked until he saw a pair of purple earrings. Duong Nin did not hesitate to ask his grandfather how to sell these earrings. The seller immediately replied that pure gold studded with jewels are genuine matching earrings. If you want to buy, I'll give you an even amount of 7,000 yuan. Duang Nin immediately thought the system gave out 6,700 yuan so he could continue bargaining. The couple also chose satisfactory jewelry. The wife chose a pair of extremely eye-catching earrings and immediately told her husband that these earrings were so beautiful. He asked if she looked beautiful wearing them. Seeing that, the husband immediately responded that of course it was beautiful. The couple wanted to buy these earrings so they asked how much they cost. The seller happily replied 7,000 yuan. After asking the price, the husband looked like he criticized these earrings for how expensive they were. They were second-hand items that had passed through many hands and who knew, but anyway, they had no clear origin and were not clean. The seller still calmly replied that the shop's items all had transparent origins and were guaranteed to be very clean. The husband refused and immediately bargained with the seller for the 4,000 yuan I bought. Determined to keep the price until the seller refused to sell. Seeing that, the husband paid another 200 yuan and then slammed his hand on the table and said loudly, 4,500 yuan, this is a good price. Unsuccessful in the bid, the husband changed his expression and loudly criticized this pawn shop. Not many people came to ask for the price.